Good morning. How is everyone? Hello. It's Friday. We made it a whole week, guys. Can you believe that? Okay. I'm just putting my hair up because it keeps falling in my face. All right, so today we're going to do the final little bit around the outside edge of our bag. Hannah says she's doing good. How am I? I'm also good. George is giving me the wave, so now he can leave. Veronica says she's tired, and Melanie is excited. All right, so for this one, you are going to need all 6 strands. We're going to just do a stem stitch around the outside. Now, the reason that we're not doing another woven wagon wheel is because some people are going to need a lot more coverage than other people. So me, for example, I'm going to go from this line here, and I'm going to go all the way past this edge. So I'm going to cover up all of these buttonhole stitches here. Now, if your buttonhole stitches or blanket stitches actually go too far in and you can see them, you can either leave it because it's really not going to matter, or you can cut them out before we start. Now, to do that, I would go on the back and snip these. I would not use a, what are they called? One of these babies. Do not do that, because what will happen is you will get going and slice into your fabric. It's happened to me so many times. I would not do that. Instead, I would get tiny little scissors like these ones that have that really tiny thing, and then snip. Ooh, I almost did it. I wasn't even trying to. Snip each of them, and then take the tweezers that I hope that you got. Yeah, and you can pull out all of the threads on this side with your tweezers. Then you can do your stem stitch. Really, it doesn't matter. Like, if they show a little bit, it's absolutely okay. It's going to be more if it bothers you. And I know someone's going to ask, can you do the stem stitch first and then decide? Of course you can, but it's going to be really difficult to cut them out after because the stem stitch is on the front and the back. It looks like a back stitch on the back and the back of a back stitch on the front, if you know what I mean, if that makes any sense. So it will be completely covered up. So if you do want to snip them out, I would suggest doing it first. Okay. So let's put this like that. Robin, did you even want to do this? Because I didn't actually ask if you wanted it or not. Because you've come to all the lessons, but I don't think you actually got the pattern. So let me know. So for mine, I'm just going to leave them in there because obviously I made my fabric too big anyways. And you can even tell that it's going like way over here, like into this bit. So I'm just going to leave mine in. And get started. So you can start anywhere around this line, anywhere. So if you want to start here, you can. If you want to start there, you can. It's all the same. Now, I often use the stem stitch for stems, surprise. I also like to use it as the outside of your wagon wheel. So if you've got some spokes that are still showing and it really bothers you, you can always do just a little stem stitch around the outside using the same number of threads that you've used for the inside. So I'm going to show you how to do it, and then you can go around as many times as you want. Obviously, my aim is to cover up this fabric. So I might need 3 times around for the stem stitch. I may need 4 or 5 times around. It just depends on how much it is to cover it. So I will have a different number than you will have. We'll all have different ones. This one here, you can tell it's 3 times around I went. And that's because when I watercolored it, I went outside the lines, and you can even tell here. And I just kept going around and around and around until I finished, basically, until I could cover it all up on the front. On the back, I'm not really bothered about that too much, because one, you can't really see it from the front, and I'm going to cover that up when we stitch the front. So there's that. You can also see here, it almost looks like the woven wagon wheel. Very similar. And on the back, it looks like a back stitch. Okay. All right, let's get started. I know I tend to talk a lot, and I'm really sorry. Okay, let's see if we can't zoom in just a little bit more. All right, so with the stem stitch, they're going to come up in an area, okay? I would try and say to try your best to keep the same amount of space between where you start your stem stitches and the previous stitches. So if you can try and keep that the same all the way around, that would be good. If you can't, then that's fine too. All right, there's no like, oh, you messed it up. You can't mess it up, I promise. So I'm just gonna try my best to go on the line here. Okay, and what you're gonna do is make a loop. And we're gonna try and make all these stem stitches about the same length. So if you have them about here, this length, we're gonna try and do the same length for each of the stitches. So we'll put it down like right there. And you're gonna keep your loop there. Hi, Jamie T. Okay, so I've got my loop. Yeah, I didn't make it tight. And we're gonna come up right in the middle of these 2 stitches on the line. So mine will be a bit fussy because I've got this sticker, and obviously the sticker is coming unstuck and I'm doing it right on the edge. So just ignore that bit. Okay, and you're gonna pull it through, and when you pull it through, you're gonna tighten that loop like this. So there's your first one. And now we're gonna make another loop. And this stitch from here to here is going to be the same length as from here to here. So we're only going up about a half of a stitch. Yeah, because from here to here, that will make a whole stitch. Yeah, and then for this one, we're going to go back up through the same hole if you can. If not, just go right next to it. Can you see? And you're going to pull that one. And then from here on, it's actually the same. Literally the same. So you're going to go up that little half of a stitch, because remember, we're making all of our stitches the same length. And then come back up. And then down again. I'm using all 6 strands, and I'm gonna do this all the way around. And I might have to do 2 or 3 or 4 goes all the way around. But that will be up to you. It just depends on how many times you need to go around. So obviously, if you've got a big space and you're like, oh, I'd rather just do the wagon wheel, then just do the wagon wheel if that's what you want to do. But you don't want to make, you know, the bag too much bigger than it actually is. I just know that I cut my fabric too big, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So you're gonna go all, oh, I caught it. So if this happens, where you get this like weird, you know, you're just gonna smooth out all of your threads again. And it just means that you've caught one of the threads somewhere. It could be on your needle, it could be on your fingernail. Maybe your wood is not really smooth on the outside. Sometimes that will catch it as well. Remember, we're just trying to keep the same amount of distance all the way around. And like, you're not getting graded on it, you know what I mean? Like, so if it's a little bit closer in some areas, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And then obviously you could do different colors to mix and match if you wanted to do a color that was like complementary to this, to do like a little outline. So for example, for mine, I actually used 3 different colors because my initial color, which was this, got dyed with my watercolor. So I tried to match it and that wasn't right. And then I just found another one that was similar. And then I was like, oh, that looks weird. And so then I did a dark one for an outline. So I've only done 3 rows there. But you can mix and match the threads. Someone else did like 3 strands of one color and 3 strands of another color. So you could do that if you wanted. And then mix them together, you know, so that you still have 6 strands. But so yeah, this is me until I go around and round and round. So we're ending on an easy note. Hi. And obviously you can see that because I have to pull my thread so hard through the sticky solvy, it's actually loosening up my hoop. So before we start on the flowers on next Monday, because remember Saturday and Sunday there are no videos. There's no like advanced video or anything like that for this one. It's literally just, this is it. So before we start again on Monday, make sure that you tighten your hoop and make sure that there's no gaps or anything like that, because we have worked a lot on this one. I know we haven't done much stitching per se. We've done a lot more weaving because we've done 3 or 4 days of mostly weaving. You know, the only stitching that we've actually done is to put the stitches in so that we could weave them. So that's a little bit, sorry. And especially because I'm right close to the edge there, that will pull the fabric a little bit more. So just make sure, especially if you just have watercolor and you don't have the applique, then you might have to really make sure that you're not pulling that fabric, because if you stitch on it and it's pulled together like that, you're never going to be able to get it flat. You're always going to have a little like wave or like a bump in your fabric. Good luck to me getting this sticky solvy off, huh? I'll try and wash it off today, although it might wash off my pattern, so we'll see. We'll see what happens when I wash it off. I might have to start again on the weekend, but that's the chance you take, innit? Oh, I've got just one thread here. Do you see? So this is something that you can do as well if you find you've just got one flapping up. Pull each one, and then you'll find it will smooth out. Stem stitch is also really great for outlining things, and we might use it again to outline some flowers, especially like this one, where you might want a nice little outline there, or maybe this one here. We'll see. I did have a plan for it, but now I feel like, ooh, maybe we'll change it. Because that's normally how I do it. I plan the whole stitch along, and then we get to the day and I'm like, let's change something different. Let's do something different. Why? Why should we keep the same thing? So for the very last one, because we did a little half stitch in the beginning, I'm going to start where I stopped there. It is always the last one, Veronica. Let me just pull it. Yeah. And then the very last stitch will be connecting this one here with this one in there to make one full circle. Ah. Do you know what? Some threads just do this. I found that DMC threads do this a lot. And it's they're really easy to untangle. So if you need just one thread or 3 threads, it's really easy to get them untangled, you know? But I find that the more that you work with them, the more that they'll become untangled like this. So the very last one is going to be just like this. There we go. And then we start our next one. So I'm actually going to stop this and then do another one, like start another thread, because this is already getting a bit, and I've got more. So there's that. So that's basically it. That's the whole thing. You can see on the back, it looks like a back stitch. So if we did a back stitch here, like on the front, the back of it would look like this. All the way around. Yeah. This is also sometimes called an outline stitch. I haven't found the difference in an outline stitch and a stem stitch. They seem exactly the same to me. Yeah, but that's that. Actually, someone commented yesterday about our stitches here, saying that this was a back stitch. And actually, it's called the stepped running stitch, but if you notice, I didn't actually use a running stitch for it. This is a back stitch. We've done a back stitch all the way around instead of a running stitch, and I've just altered it. I just haven't been able to find one that's exactly this. Do you know what I mean? So if you look up the different stitches, like a stitch dictionary or anything like that, I haven't found anything that's exactly like this. I'm not saying I made it up because I'm not that clever, but yeah, so someone commented, actually, it's just a back stitch. I'm like, well, actually, it's not, because we did a lot more stuff to it. But it made me giggle. But it is worth noting that I've called it the stepped running stitch, but actually we didn't do a running stitch. We did a running stitch in the middle of this one, and that's where you have a space in between your stitches. So just throwing that out there for, you know, clarity. And sometimes with stitches, they are called something else, but you do other things first as like the first step. Do you know what I mean? So like the woven wagon wheel, first you use the straight stitch to make the spokes, just a straight stitch, nothing fancy. And then you weave, you know, over and under those stitches to make it the woven wagon wheel. So you can often combine stitches to make new stitches, and that's okay. I must have really dry hands or something, because I keep snagging just one thread on here. It's making it not that nice to work with. But I think you guys get the idea. So if you want to dip out, that's totally fine. I do not blame you. It's literally just me doing more rounds of this. That's okay. Just make sure that you don't stop here. You need to go around to fill the edge of your fabric. Now, if you don't have that much fabric left, meaning that like your first round was right on the edge, I would still go around maybe twice just to give it that like final look. If you know what I mean? To make it look nice and finished. And we're not going for as bulky as this, but we're going for a little bit thicker than this one. So just keep that in mind that you might have to make it a little bit bigger. One, to secure your ends for your applique if you did applique, or to not secure, cover up your, like the bleeding, if you had any bleeding with your watercolor. Cover the bleeding, guys. Too much crime show. Too many crime shows. See, that's really bothering me, this right on the edge, because I can't tell if I'm actually in the right place or not, because the sticky Sylvie is like moving around. Now you probably noticed that I'm going a little bit bigger. I think my fingers are just a little sweaty. With my stitches around the outside, and you absolutely can. You just don't want them to be too big, because then it will start doing like cut straight across instead of making the shape of the circle. You can even see that these here are like starting to come undone. I'm almost done with my second round. So I'll probably end here just so that you guys don't have to watch me going round and round and round and round with this. But like I said, I would definitely do maybe 3, just so it's like a nice bold outline. But use your own judgment, because if you don't have any space to do that, then maybe 1 or 2 is fine for you, you know? Obviously, I have to do more because mine is bigger. And I totally did my pattern at the right size and everything. I think I just cut it out on the outside of the line when I cut my fabric for the applique instead of cutting on the line. And you would think that it wouldn't matter that much, but it actually really does, as you can see, because now I have a bunch more space to cover. Yeah, Jessie's just doing a big stretch over there. She says, oh, hello. I like that noise. Oh, where's my stitch at? I can't find it. Oh. So obviously you can just keep going if you've got a long enough thread to just keep going. And if you run out of thread, do not worry. You can just start another one literally anywhere. It doesn't have to be any kind of like special like way to start and stop. You just pick up right where you left off. So you're just going to continue the pattern all the way around. Okay, well, I think that's it from me. Congratulations, you've made a rattan bag. Some of you, it's your very first stitch along, and I'm so impressed. You have no idea. Like, I'm so proud of everyone. Your stitches look amazing. And you did that. I was just finishing that bit. So there you go. So no video tomorrow, no video on Sunday. We'll start again on Monday, and we will start the flowers. So make sure you have all your browns packed away, because we're not going to use them again until the very end when we add a handle. So the reason for that is because it is a 3D handle, so it will be floppy. So you can tack it down here if you want to put it straight down, or you can do all of your flowers. This is a different pattern, a different version of it, so don't stress about that. Or you can tack it up here like this after your flowers are all done. So that will be completely up to you, whatever you decide. And yeah, so we finished. So like I said, this is 3 goes around, you know, 3 rounds, just this part. And you can see I probably have to go 1 more, just to cover that up for me. If you have 2 or 1 and that's fine and you're happy with it, then just do it. Also, if you go a little bit over these leaves, don't worry about that either, because if they are covering, we'll just stitch over the edge. And I'll show you how to do that too. So congratulations, guys. You made it through the first week of the stitch along. Don't forget to tag me at the Barmy Fox, just right there. And can you not lick, please? Thank you. And make sure that you're hashtagging the Barmy Fox SAL. So I'll be going through all of the hashtag this weekend to like and comment on your photos. So I cannot wait to see what you've done. I'm so proud of everyone. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll talk with you on Monday. All right, bye.